That's right, son. This is my favorite piece of tech. It's the Oculus Quest 2. I'm in virtual reality, baby. I can see everybody. I can see it all. Y'all probably didn't know I was in love with this thing. I only got it a couple weeks ago, and it's already become my favorite piece of tech this year. Virtual reality, better than the real thing. I want to tell you all about it. Right after this. Oh, wait. Right after this. Right after this.
This is, you listening to Travis.
What up, players? Welcome back. And for all you new people, welcome. My name is Travis and I do tech videos every single week and have a blast doing them. And today we're going to talk about the Oculus Quest 2 and why, for me, this is my favorite piece of tech ever. Now, I'm no stranger to VR. I mean, I've had different types of VR before, or at least the really inexpensive kind, you know, Gear VR on your Samsung phone. That's not really what we're talking about here. Trust me when I tell you, this is substantially different. But the technology is basically the same. You put a big display in front of your eyes and it tracks what you're doing, and all of a sudden, you're in a new reality. But kind of unlike the Gear VR, which was a much lower end version of something like this, and not quite as high end version as the really expensive ones that are, well, tethered to your computer, this to me marks a new era for VR. Because of the price of this, and because of the accessibility of this, and because of the expandability of this exact product, I believe now that virtual reality is on the very verge of becoming very much mainstream. And as you check YouTube, there's tons of channels that show you how to use this thing, and they're getting tons of views. It's an incredible piece of hardware, and I am absolutely in love with it. So you might be wondering, well, okay, what can you do with this thing? You just play games, right? Well, I mean, that is part of it, no doubt. I mean, I play some games on this thing. And not only that, I play games that actually, you know, are good for you. I'm thinking, what are you talking about good for you? I'm talking about exercise, baby. Look at this. Watch me get some of these boxings and watch me dodge these bullets like the Matrix, baby. Let's go. And yes, the games are so incredibly immersive, but there's things about this that I didn't know until I bought it. By the way, this is a third-party attachment here that allows me to put a battery pack on here. And the reason for that is because the battery on this only lasts about 2 hours or so, especially if you're really getting into something. Now, when I first bought this, I'm thinking, I'm not gonna be 2 hours in this thing at a time. It's ridiculous. That time goes real fast when you're in a virtual reality. And that means things from like watching movies in this thing, so you have screens that are like 100 feet tall virtually, or talking to other people or playing games. It doesn't matter, man. This thing will keep you locked in for a very long time, and you're kind of happy to be there. From a social perspective, there's all types of chat games and multiplayer games you can play with this thing. And one of the things that I didn't know when I purchased this was that it actually can connect to your PC. So you're not just locked down to the Quest 2 games, of which there's tons of really great ones, but there's actually a bunch of things you can do on your PC. So instead of buying this really expensive tethered solution for your PC because you want to get into VR PC, you don't got to do that. Now, what's really nice about this is, and the one thing I didn't know is that you don't even have to like tether it. So I bought a really long USB-C to USB-C cable to plug this into my computer so I could try some games, but it turns out you can do this wirelessly. Like, this thing is absolutely incredible. And if you want other people to watch, you can cast this to a Google Chromecast or the phone, which is kind of how I shot like all this footage. I can't get enough of this thing, but let's talk a little bit more about the practicality of this, because while to me gaming is definitely a huge benefactor of something like virtual reality, there are some other really, really cool purposes for this thing. We are increasingly in a remote world where we're doing calls over Zoom all the time, and we kind of lose that connection. We use video to try to help make that connection happen, but there's something missing. It's not the same as being in person and talking and just being in person with someone, you know, that connection you make. Virtual reality kind of bridges that gap. I've noticed when you're in a virtual reality room or a game with other person, you feel like you're actually there. And the things that you can do in virtual reality are sometimes better than what you can do in real life. Like, you can fly, you can run forever, you can box heavyweight champions. It's pretty awesome. But there's also productivity. Not only can you do virtual desktops where you can actually control your computer from your Oculus, there are meeting rooms and things that kind of replace Zoom. That's right. So if your job is mostly remote, maybe you can convince them that everyone should get an Oculus because, you know, we can do things virtually and productivity goes up. At least that's what you should tell them. For me, I've never been so excited about tech because not only does it give me something fun to do gaming wise, but I now can use it for productivity. And I think that there's nothing that's quite like that in the industry that's so gaming oriented, yet has strong presence and a strong potential for things that are not just gaming. Regardless, I really believe this is just the beginning. And it's an exciting beginning. Well, let's talk about the things that I figured out along the way so you don't have to figure those same things out. First of all, there's a couple of really great channels on YouTube that cover VR. They're incredible channels, and you learn so many things. You find little tips and tricks and hacks and reviews about the little accessories. There's accessories left, right, and center. Now, the one thing I like about this particular accessory is that I have battery packs for my phones. So I just use a battery pack for my phone to extend the battery life on here. One of my favorite brands, Anker, has a charger for this thing so that you can charge at the end of the night. Now, of course, you don't need to buy that, but it's a pretty cool charger. You don't necessarily need that USB-C cable to connect to your computer. If you have a strong enough Wi-Fi connection, you can play PC games remotely. And there's even ways of side-loading apps because it's basically built on Android so that you don't even need your PC for certain games. And as a matter of fact, you can actually stream PC games without a PC using some cloud options. My brain is melting right now. It is absolutely insane. For me, this is much more exciting than any of the tech I'm actually covering. I love the Oculus so much, I'm just telling everyone about it. And when I have people over to check it out, they're floored. They're floored. The quality is so much better than what you're used to, and even what you're seeing here you can't understand the experience you have once you're in virtual reality. Watching a video of it is kind of fun to see, but once you're in it, you're actually there. And being able to wield a lightsaber and look like a savage Jedi, let me tell you, I'm all about that life. Now, the one thing you will need to know is that you do need, at least currently, a Facebook login because Facebook owns Oculus. And that is a big controversial thing. A lot of people don't like Facebook. I totally get it. For some of you, that's a non-issue, but for some of you, that might be a hindrance. Of course, you can set up some type of little side Facebook account, I guess, and there's different ways of getting into this thing without a Facebook account. Again, there's ways you can find that out on YouTube and such, but it is something you should know that currently you need to use a Facebook account to log into this thing. For me, I don't really care. It doesn't matter. I don't really use my Facebook at all anyways. It doesn't matter. It's a throwaway thing. And it's worth it for me just because of so many features in this thing. I am absolutely, matter of fact, I'm almost done this video because I need to go play some more. So I would definitely recommend getting some type of different head strap. There's tons of them on Amazon. I'll maybe leave a link for the one that I purchased. But there's even ones with integrated batteries in them. There's a bunch of those out there. And you can buy the 128 gig version of the Oculus Quest and have plenty of storage. Now, a lot of people hearing 120 gigs think, oh, that doesn't sound like a lot. But considering most games are under 3 gigs, a lot of them at 1 gig, you can put a lot of games on this thing. And trust me, I don't think you're going to be going through like 50 or 60 games at one time. And even if you were, you can play a lot of them on your PC. There's just so many options with the Oculus Quest 2. I feel like I'm coming in really late. I love the controllers. I love the fit on my head, and I love the games I play. It's been so much fun. And man, you're gonna hear a lot about this. So leave me a comment below if you have an Oculus Quest 2. Let me know what you think about it. If you haven't and you're curious about one, I'll leave some links in the description below. Check it out, and I'll see you next time. Peace and love. Let me get back in this virtual reality. I see it all.